Hey, welcome to Soul Strings, where we connect with the people whose music weaves stories into our lives. Today, I'm honored to sit down with Supe Granda, founding member, bassist, and multi-instrumentalist of the legendary Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Good morning, Gordon. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. This is early in the morning, but I've had a cup of coffee, and it's starting to work.
I'm with you. So we'll share a cup of coffee together this morning.
There you go, buddy. Good to see you.
Well, hey, man, you got a show coming up, I believe, October the 19th at the Factory here in St. Louis?
I don't know the exact date, but yeah, it's in the middle, towards the end of October at the Factory, which is very cool venue. Very, very cool venue.
You know, it really is a nice venue. I saw America there. I'm going to go see Dream Theater there coming up right around the same time that you're going to be playing, and I plan on coming to see you as well. So yeah, I love the tables section in the back where you can sit at the tables and watch the show. But there's the seating is incredible. There's not a bad seat in the house.
That's right. So back at the tables, are there cocktails involved?
Yep. And they got the bar set up pretty well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I got to ask you. So, Supe, how did that come about? Because you're Michael.
Yeah, Michael Granda is my name that I used all through school. I went to college in Springfield in 1969, started a rock and roll band down there called the Great Sloth, and I was the lead singer, and I came out in a Superman t-shirt. And when you go to college, and I started playing around town, or Springfield, wearing this Superman shirt. So when you go to college, you meet 5,000 people at the same time, and people walk up and go, "Oh, you're that guy in that band." And I went, "Yeah, I'm that guy in that band." "You're the guy wearing that Superman suit, a Superman shirt." "Yeah, I'm the guy wearing that Superman shirt." And Superman got shortened down to Supe. I've been Supe since 1969. It's a nickname that I acquired, and I just kind of stopped fighting it. And, that's why it's spelled S-U-P-E,
right?
Short for Superman. And so I just kind of succumbed to the nickname.
That's awesome. And it kind of played with the name kind of fit with one of the bands you were in at one time, didn't it? The Supe, didn't you have a band named Supe and something?
Supe and the Sandwiches.
Yeah, Supe and the Sandwiches.
Yeah, Supe and the Sandwiches. I had Supe and the Sandwiches in Springfield for, the last 10 years. I lived in Springfield. When I moved to Nashville in 1991, which I'm talking to you from right now, I started a band down here called Supe and the Sandwiches. And I figured that if I call it Supe and ampersand the whatevers, I could have whoever I wanted in the whatevers. It's not like I had to have the same lineup. So Supe and the Sandwiches had, good Lord, 50, 60 people in and out of its ranks. And I still work as Supe and the Sandwiches. Not too much anymore, but yeah, Supe and the Sandwiches. I've got all kinds of CDs out. You can find them all over the place. And it's a little bit wackier than the Daredevils, a little sillier. I'm sorry, a lot sillier. And that's kind of what I do on the side when I'm not working with the Ozarks.
We kind of share a friend, and that is Scott Niehaus. How did you meet Scott Niehaus?
Scott Niehaus played in a band called Acousticity. And at one point in time, I think we may have even been using the same booking agent, but they went on tour with us. And the marquee read, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils with special guest Acousticity. And Gordon, I'm talking 50 gigs, 60 gigs over a span of 4 or 5 years. And Scott, being from St. Louis, as I am, we bonded over that. Scott, also being from Lindbergh High School down in South County, which is where I went to school, so we bonded over Lindbergh. And then we bonded musically because he and I enjoy the same kind of music. So it was a really nice fit, a very, very nice friendship that's lasted all these years, and it's strong today as ever. And I still look forward to playing with the guy whenever there's a gig come up with he and I. We have a band called the Real Macaws, and that's Scott Nienhaus and Terry Rogers. So I met Terry Rogers when I played with the Byrds. He called me, and I went out with Michael Clark, and I was in the last incarnation of the Byrds that had an original member. Of course, it was just Michael, the drummer, but and then Terry and I remained friends. And I said, Terry, there's this guy in St. Louis you need to meet. He is Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills and Nash, through and through. The two of them met. I introduced them, and they got together. And good Lord, what's it been, 30 years now or so? But
Pretty
yeah,
much.
so
Yeah.
Scott and I go way back, and he's a great guy and a beautiful musician.
Well, you've been with the Ozark Mountain Daredevils since the beginning. What drew you to music when you were young? I mean, how did your journey with the band begin?
The band's been
Okay.
together 54 years. Okay.
Wow. It's incredible.
Now, I growing up in St. Louis in 1964 when I saw the Beatles on TV. Man, fireworks went off all around my brain. My DNA was completely rearranged. And up till then, like all boys in St. Louis, I was a St. Louis Cardinal baseball nut, which I still am. So I go one day after seeing the Beatles on TV, I watched and I didn't see any of the girls screaming for Mike Shannon and Tim McCarver, but I saw them screaming for John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Now, I was 14 years old and I was starting to get hair on my chest.
Gotcha.
Starting to get hair on my chest, and I went, wait a minute. No. And it was the light switch turned on, and from 1964 to 1969, when I graduated and left Springfield, I had a band. I was a band leader in St. Louis. Of course, we weren't very, we didn't really play that much. We didn't get much, recognition. But I got bit by that bug.
Oh, yeah.
And anybody who gets bit by that bug will understand this next statement. I'm a 75-year-old man, and when I put my guitar on, I still turn into a giant 8th grader trying to learn how to play Get Off My Cloud. I still have that same fire, that same intensity, and that same desire to play music. Now, from 1964 to 69, I had bands in St. Louis. When I moved to college in 1969, I had zero interest in going to Psychology 101 at 8 a.m. I had 100% interest in staying up all night, drinking beer and playing music with some people. 1971, a couple years after I was down there, I met the rest of the guys in the Daredevils. And from there, from 1971 to now, 2025, that's 54 years. We've just played music. That's all I've ever done my entire life. And I'm very lucky man to be able to say I was been able to support myself with my art and my music. That means I don't have to get up tomorrow morning and go to be a Walmart greeter. And I don't have to go to a day job to support my music habit. So I concentrate on it all the time. And part of that is talking with you this morning.
That's so great that you get to do that, because that's the dream job. The dream job is being able to do what that you love to do and
Right.
get paid for it. I mean, that's just,
Yeah. Who was it that said, if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, or whatever that saying is.
I know what you're talking about.
It
Yep.
is exactly correct. And I'm a living example of that.
So the Daredevils, you guys are described as blending kind of country, rock, folk, even bluegrass. How
Correct.
did that sound evolve?
Well, when we first started, we got together more as a songwriters collective than a band. We had a whole bunch of guys who got together, and for years and years and years, we'd been in cover bands. And I, along with everybody else, was tired of being in a cover band. I didn't want to play the latest Rolling Stones song. I didn't want to play the latest Doobie Brothers song. We wanted to play our songs. So when we got together, we had very diverse personalities. One guy brought in country influence. One guy brought in bluegrass influence. One guy brought in pop influence. One guy brought in this. What I think I brought in was my St. Louis rock and roll influence. For lively music, let's hit the dance floor and let's just have a good time. So now we get to the point where, okay, what are we going to do here? We're going to play this song. We started working up songs. You play my song, I'll play your song. We'll play his song. He'll play our song. You'll play their song. That was a very democratic, very uh, hippy dippy approach. Then, when we started working up these songs, we realized that they were all diverse, they were all different. So, as opposed to trying to make all of the songs sound like the Eagles, when you hear the Eagles, every song sounds the same. When you hear, the Doobie Brothers, every song sounds the same. We didn't do that. That's why our two biggest hits, Jackie Blue and If You Want to Get to Heaven, there's no banjos on Jackie Blue. There's no harmonicas on Jackie Blue. And on
There is a one you want to get to heaven.
right.
Yeah.
So as opposed to trying to homogenize all of that into one batch, we decided to keep it all diverse and individual. Each individual song got the treatment it deserved. Now
Speaking of,
it confused people in the beginning because A&M Records said, "Well, how are we supposed to market this? Where do we put your records? Do we put it in the rock and roll section? Do we put it in the country section? Do we put it in the pop section?" Our answer was, "Why don't you put it in all of them?" And they could, and that just didn't compute in the record industry. The people in Missouri loved it. The people in Hollywood couldn't figure it out.
so what?
We
Speaking of
stuck to
Jackie,
our guns. So what I'm saying is we stuck to our guns, and it's paid off.
yeah, and you have to, especially back then. I mean, how many times when I watched a documentary on Queen, Freddie Mercury stuck to his guns on their 8-minute song because they were like saying you can't have an 8-minute song, you got to have a 2.5 to 3-minute song. But he stuck to his guns and it paid off.
Right.
When we talk about If You Want to Get to Heaven and Jackie Blue, why do you think those two songs had so much staying power?
Well, because they're good songs. They're good songs to start with. And there's a saying down here in Nashville, it all starts with the song. If you get a good song and you make a good record of a good song, it'll last forever. If you make a record of a bad song, it'll go down the tubes like a Bic lighter. So we
So when
put
you go ahead, go
so we put all of our energy into songwriting. We were an okay band. We weren't a great band, but we were great songwriters. None of us have gotten one vote in the Playboy Best Bass Player poll.
Yeah, we've seen so many jokes about bass players. Me being a lead singer,
Best drummer, best guitar player. None of us have gotten one vote in any of those polls, but we wrote good songs. Good songs will last forever. So that's what we concentrated on, and that's why those songs have staying power.
we talk about writing songs.
Mhm.
So what is your process? So many guys have different processes. They start with a melody, they start with the lyrics, they start with the groove on the bass. What is your songwriting process for you? And is
My
it
song,
different for each song?
yeah, it's different all the time. As a matter of fact, the other day I was out in the garden tending to my tomatoes, and my hands were in the dirt. My hands were just muddy and sweaty, and I got a song idea. And so I said, "Uh-oh." So I had to get up, wash my hands, come inside, and write it down immediately. Because if I wait 30 seconds, it's gone. Sometimes the words will come to me. Sometimes the melody will start. Sometimes I'll get the instrumentation together. Okay, I want this to sound like this. And I want this influence in, but there's no one approach. Each song, it's like it dictates to me. It tells me what to do. So some like I just went in the studio last week. I've just released a bluegrass album with some bluegrass friends of mine down in the Ozarks. And some of those songs are, good Lord, 50 years old. And some of them are 50 days old. And each one comes to you individually, and you must stay open and receptive to however it hits you. If the music hits you first, fine. If the lyric hits you first, fine. And so I don't really have a playbook. When it hits me, it hits me. And when it hits me, I have to respect the muse and immediately capture what it's telling me.
We talked about If You Want to Go to Heaven and Jackie Blue and the staying power and
Mhm.
being the hits that they were.
Right.
What song in the catalog of the Daredevils do you feel is underrated and that you thought was going to be a hit but wasn't?
Oh, deep tracks. Oh,
Yeah.
that was going to be a hit. Oh Lord, that's hard to say. I mean, we've put a lot of energy into songs and released them, and that went right down. I thought, oh man, this is great. I'm gonna be able to get me a new pickup truck on this song. It's great. I'm gonna buy a house with this song. Both Jackie Blue and If You Want to Get to Heaven weren't the first singles off those records. They were the second singles. There was another song that we thought was going to be successful. It wasn't. So
What
it
was the
really,
name of that song?
the first one, I believe the first one was we released was Country Girl, maybe. It didn't go anywhere. We released If You Want to Get to Heaven, Zoom to the top. On the second album, oh shoot, I forget what the first single was. But they said, well, let's release Jackie Blue. We released Jackie Blue, and boom, to the top of the charts. So and you have to realize it's 50 years ago.
Right.
The industry was different. There was no internet. There was no instant downloads. There was no, what is this? This is a StreamYard. There's no Zoom. There's no YouTube. And back then it was just different. And not better, not worse, just different.
Me and my wife talked about that. Me and my wife do a show here called In Your City. And
Mm-hmm.
I brought that subject up
Mm-hmm.
because remember, when we talk about the B sides of songs, how many B side songs made it to the top of the charts because somebody bought the A side and then they started listening to the B side and went, wow,
Right.
this is great on a 45. And we
Right.
had an album. When we bought Album Soup, we put the whole album on and we just let it play. And then we would hear songs that we normally wouldn't hear. So I think about the music industry today, and I start think. Me and my wife talked about that, and I said, how many songs are being missed because people don't listen to the whole album? They're just listening to, like you said, I'm just downloading the one track I like, and I'm not hearing the rest of it. So I
Correct.
wonder how many songs that could possibly be hits that are getting missed because people aren't listening to the whole album.
Well, are they even making albums anymore? People
Well,
say,
yeah,
you
they make them, but they're all the old stuff that me and you grew up with.
well, what we would do, I mean, the whole process is different. Here's an example. Okay, we got 10 songs. We're going to put them on this album. 5 songs on side A, 5 songs on side B. If somebody picks it up and plays side A, the first song must flow into the second song, into the third song, and fourth. Now, the fifth song on side A must have a good ending song for side A. Now, that song, when you flip the record over to side B, the last song on side A should flow into the first song on side B. So, like you were saying, when you listen to the whole album, there's a flow to it.
like a
And that,
concert.
right. And that's the part of the process that I think is getting lost because it does, some people are still doing. I mean, the old Fred Flintstones like myself are still doing that. But you're right. People are doing, oh, here's our latest single, and here it is. Here's our latest album. And you get to hear 10 songs that we paid a lot of attention to recording and sequencing. So you're right. There are a lot of songs, hit songs on many albums, not only ours, but other artists as well, that, could have been hits, you know, but they weren't. And that's fine with me, you know.
Can you share a favorite moment with me that you had that always sticks in your mind of recording in the studio? Something that really sticks out to you, or even on stage?
Yeah. Well, okay, here. We made our first album with Glenn Johns, okay? And he said, okay, we recorded the song. It was fine. Okay. And it was fine. We said, oh, that's great. We're going to use it. And he said, well, it's too long. Like Jackie Blue. Okay, Jackie Blue. Jackie Blue recorded on the album was almost 4 minutes long. So Glenn said, okay, we're going to edit it. Well, how are we going to do that? He actually got the tape on the thing and sliced the tape at the top of that last verse. And then he rolled the tape back, forward to the end and sliced it again. So he edited out a whole verse. He took the two pieces, sliced them together seamlessly. So the record you hear on the radio doesn't contain the last verse that Steve and Larry wrote. So the version on the album is 4 minutes long. The version on the radio is 3 minutes long. When that
Wow.
happened, I just went, oh my God, this guy's amazing. It was like open heart surgery. This guy was
And now we have all this. Now we have all this computer stuff where you just go boop 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 done.
right, right, exactly
And
right,
actually, you can actually tell it to say, "Hey, take out this part," and it'll actually just take it out for you.
right. And that opened my eyes. It opened all of our eyes. And that helped us edit our song. That's why none of our songs are, you know, 9 minutes long. To be honest with you, those 9 minute long songs bore me after 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
What is a life? The name of the show is Soul String, so I always like
Yep.
to ask, what is
Yep.
a life lesson that you learned while touring on the road or during this whole process of your life with playing music? What is a life lesson that you can share with some of us?
A life lesson is perseverance. Perseverance, man. I know this is what I was put on the earth to do. Make art, make music, have so it will enrich someone else's life. Somebody hears a song and go, "Oh, that's great," and it gives them a good feeling. That's it. And persevere. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't let anyone tell you, you know, that hey, what are you doing this for? I know what I'm doing it for. That's to help other people, to enrich other people's lives. There's that, and also you must do your homework. Today, I think a lot of young folks say, "Well, all I got to do is go on that TV show for 16 weeks, and I'll be a star."
Yeah.
You must do your homework. Well, they say 10,000 hours or something like your craft. You must do your homework. You must sit down. You must get sore fingers. Your fingers must bleed with calluses, and then finish your work. Finish. If you're writing a song, finish. If you're writing a book, finish the work. That's. And there's a lot of guys go, well, this song isn't finished, but I'm gonna put a new guitar on. I'm gonna put this on it, and then that, and then I'm gonna do this. Well, finish. That's why people say, you want to hear my rough mixes? No, I want to hear,
Want to hear
and
the
I
finished
don't. I'm
product?
not, right, and I'm not going to play you my rough mixes.
Doesn't describe the song well.
Right,
It's
it'd be
like,
like a painter saying, "Well, I see this lady here. Well, I'm going to put a sun over her head here, and it's going to shine down, and I'm going to put some dogs on the and the painting isn't done. But here, you like it? No, finish your work.
what keeps you balanced? I heard you talk about the tomatoes and having a garden and stuff. What keeps you balanced today in
Keeps
life
me
between music and life?
What keeps me balanced is the same thing that kept us balanced in 1970. When was Jackie Blue? 75, whatever that was, 75.
Yeah, close to. Yeah.
A&M came to us and said, "Hey, look, guys, look, man, we got a hit record, Jackie Blue. Okay, let's follow it up. Give us Jackie Red. Come on, how about Jackie Green? How about Jackie Brown? Come on, come on." We said, "Well, we don't approach our music like that." "Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on." We had two hit records, and A&M asked us to move to Los Angeles. Move out here to Hollywood. We can get you on the Sonny and Cher show. We can get you on Smothers Brothers. We'll get you on the Tonight Show. We'll get you on Mike Douglas show.
Mike Douglas, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Well, remember the Mike Douglas show?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, and we said, no, we think we're going to stay here. We had young families, and my daughters were eating fresh tomatoes and fresh strawberries out of the garden. And they were swimming in beautiful, clear creeks. And I wasn't going to uproot them and move them to Los Angeles so I could go on the Mike Douglas show. We held our ground there. We stayed in Missouri then. And it's just, I can't be on camera all the time. There are times when I like to tend to my gardens. I like to play. I have 7 grandchildren. I like to play with them. I like to do other things. I like to sweep the leaves off my deck. So it's just keeping yourself grounded is important to me, and it's important to Ozark Mountain Daredevils because it got us to where we are. And like they said, you got to dance with the one that brung you to the dance.
that's right.
So we got our feet planted firmly on the ground, and that'll keep our head out of the clouds.
What do you hope people feel in their soul when they hear your music?
Well, we hope it gets to their soul. Do you think that song "Honky Donk Badonka Donk" is going to get to anybody's soul? Nah. Like I said, it's a big lighter. That's the thing with music today. It's a big lighter. When it's done, you just discard it. If it gets to your soul, we want you to. I would like for you to first of all enjoy what I do, and second of all, if it gets in there, I want you to carry it with you in your soul. Carry it with you. Let it make you happy in the morning when you're having coffee. Let it make you happy in the evening when you're having your first margarita. But keep it in the soul.
Well, you guys have the show coming up here in October. What can we expect to see in this show that you got coming to the factory here in October? I believe October the 19th. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it's a Sunday evening, which is very cool.
It is
And the
October the
factory,
19th.
which is very cool. What you're going to hear is we haven't hit the Chubby Checker level yet. We haven't hit Paul Revere and the Raiders level yet. We're a working band. We've been working the entire 54 years with new music, new songs. When somebody comes to the factory, they'll hear Jackie Blue, they'll hear Chicken Train, they'll hear If You Want to Get to Heaven, they'll hear all of that. But we're also going to throw in some of the new music that we've been writing and recording and playing. I would say it's going to be, maybe 60-40, no, 75-25% old hits. But, to keep it interesting for us, we're going to put in some new music, which we've been playing recently.
How long has the members of this band been together that we're going to see?
10, 12 years or so. When you've been together 54 years, we've been through, oh Lord, a dozen incarnations. New drummer, new guitar player, replace the new guitar player, new drummer, replace the new drummer, replace the old drummer. And there have been 35 people over the 54 years that have been in the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. This band's been together 10, 12 years or so. And it's really good because we picked people from Springfield, Missouri that were, first of all, really good. Second of all, nice people, which is important. And 3 professionals, because being a professional doesn't mean watch me for 2 hours on stage. Being a professional also means showing up for the bus on time in the morning. Professional being, don't be a asshole. Sorry.
You can say that.
Don't be a diva. Don't be a jerk, and play well with others. And so the band is really, really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to coming to the factory.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you. So thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you here at the factory.
Be well. Call anytime, Gordon. Thanks.
Okay. You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.